just want to talk to you a little bit about what my expectations are with writing. Essay assignments, any open-ended questions I give you in class, or sometimes called FRQs, free response questions, or an open-ended question on an exam, all right? Now, I'm going to particularly focus in on essays in the beginning. Number one thing with good writing is, the essence of good writing is simplification. Get to the point. Don't tell me, if the topic is the death penalty, now I'm going to write about why the death penalty is bad. No, don't do that. Just start writing about why the death penalty is bad. Don't give me a preview of what you're going to write about. Just write about it, okay? So simplification is key. Get to the point. Provide enough detail to the reader so they can draw conclusions for themselves. That's another key to good writing. Focus on what you want me as the reader to focus on. Think of me, the reader. The happier I am when I'm reading whatever you wrote, the better grade you're going to get. If it's hard for me to figure out what you're saying, I'm not going to be happy. That's not a sign of good writing. And try to write in your own voice. What do I mean by that? Musicians have their own voice. If you, when you hear John Coltrane, you know it's John Coltrane playing the saxophone. He has a very distinctive sound. You hear Bruce Springsteen, he's got a very distinctive sound. Coldplay, you know it's Coldplay when the song comes on, the way they play. Same thing should apply to writing. You should develop your own voice. Don't try to sound like anybody else. Develop your own way of saying things. So, a boring piece of writing would be an introduction paragraph. This is my topic. My topic is, we'll focus in on the first essay assignment. The medical use of marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. I believe that. I believe it because the medical use of marijuana is good. It is good for the people of the United States. My first reason for this is, my second reason for this is, my third reason for this is, in conclusion, the medical use of marijuana is very, very good. No, that's boring. Boring. You've got to develop your own style, your own way of saying things. Okay? The more you can do that, and if you can relate the topic to your life somehow, to some personal experience that can help make it more interesting, put that in there. If you know about something that happened to somebody else that relates to the topic, put that in there. Something that happened in the world that you read in the news that applies to the topic, put that in there. You're going to get a higher grade, not only in my class, in any class, and if you take the SATs, any standardized test, they're looking for that. They're looking for you to expand what you're writing about, not to just have this one little, 1 or 2 points in there. Try to use active verbs as opposed to passive verbs. Active verbs are when the subject is doing the action, okay? Try to use shorter sentences. Get rid of the clutter. Don't use unnecessary adjectives and adverbs. Don't say something like, he quickly ran to the store swiftly. Yes, I know he ran there swiftly. You told me already that he did it quickly. Don't repeat yourself, okay? Using the same types of adverbs or adjectives. If you're going to quote, that's fine, but don't have like 10 quotes in there. 1 or 2 is good if you're going to emphasize a particular point. But if you have too many quotes in there, you're not doing the writing anymore. It's whoever you're quoting is doing the writing. And it loses its emphasis, its point. If you keep saying the same thing over and over again, that indicates to me that you don't have much to say and that you have a weak argument. Try not to repeat yourself. Make sure you're using words correctly. You should think about all the words that you're choosing. Don't just throw words in there for the sake of throwing a word in there. You need to edit. You need to proofread. So your first draft should never be your last draft. I mean, on an exam, you don't have much choice. If you have time at the end of an exam and an open-ended question, you can go back and edit it. That's great. But with an essay assignment, you have a week to do it. There's no reason not to edit. What's the best way to edit? I think the best way to edit is do a first draft, print it out if you can, leave it for a day, at least a couple of hours, and go back to it. Read it again and mark it up. How can I improve this? Take this word out, add a different word, maybe switch the order of paragraphs around. You want it to have a nice flow to it. Read it aloud to somebody. Read it aloud to yourself. If it doesn't sound right, it probably isn't right. If it does sound right, it probably is. The way it sounds makes a difference. Be organized. Writing should have a rhythm, just like music. There should be a rhythm between sentences and between paragraphs. So try to use varied transition words. If you do research, you need both endnotes or footnotes and a bibliography. The only difference between an endnote and a footnote is where it's placed. A footnote is placed at the end of a page where the item you refer to is contained in your essay. An endnote is always at the end of the document. So at the end of your essay. Me personally, I think it's easier to do endnotes because sometimes figuring out the footnote function on Word or whatever word processing you use is difficult. If you just put all your endnotes at the end of your document, it's easier. You need a bibliography in addition to that. Every source that you used to do your paper should be listed there. You should know how to do this by now, the MLA format. I'm going to give you a couple of other websites that you can look at. If you don't know how to do a bibliography or endnotes or footnotes properly, the first one is citationmachine.net. If you don't know how to properly cite something, you put in there, well, I got this article from a newspaper or from a magazine, or I got this from a book. It will tell you how to do it properly. And the other is a website from Purdue University. It's owl.english.purdue/owl/resource. So I encourage you to make use of those websites with regard to endnotes, footnotes, bibliography. I have some pet peeves, things that I don't like in writing. So please don't do these things. I say this year after year, and students still do them. I hate the abbreviation, etc. Why? To me, it's lazy. It means you want to tell me something else, but you're not going to tell me what it is. So you just put etc. You know, yeah, there's some other stuff I want to say, but you figure it out. I'm not going to figure it out for you. Nowadays. Is that a word? Yes, it is. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Please say today or presently. To me, it sounds unprofessional. Please don't start a sentence with the word and. Technically, is it grammatically correct? Yes, but I'm old school. When I was in school, they told us never to do that. It's stuck in my head, so when I see it, I don't like it. So please don't do that. Words that have the same sound but have different meanings, you need to use them properly. Things like there, T-H-E-R-E, there, T-H-E-I-R, there, they are, the contraction. That's a place. This refers to a group of people. This means they are, okay? Or affect and effect. Things like that. You need to use words properly. This is the verb. This is the noun. Okay? The effect of global warming is higher sea levels. The world has been affected by global warming. One's a verb, one's a noun. You have to use them properly. Okay?